Welcome aboard to week 10 of this NFL season. Last week I went to 1, 2, and 1, which brings my overall record to 23, 19, and 2. I hope you're thirsty, everyone, because I have a 6-pack of games for you this week. So let's get to it. Let's get started with the Seahawks -3 over the Cardinals. With both teams coming off their bye, they should be both fresh. But I think the Seahawks will have an advantage in this one, as their speed and athletic defensive line will be too much for Carson Palmer to escape the pocket from, and he won't have time to look downfield to his weapons at receiver. And this is one team the Cardinals don't match up well with, as across the board the Legion of Boom can match up receiver for receiver. And I think this Russell Wilson will be able to escape the pocket more than Palmer will, and Beast Mode will be able to run, and nobody on the Cardinals safeties will be able to match up with Luke Wilson or Graham at tight end. And that will be enough for them to get a key victory to get back in the NFC West race. For my next pick, I like the Eagles -6 over the Dolphins. I look for the Eagles' speed in the backfield and at tight end to give the Dolphins a lot of problems with their size. And this is the Dolphins' third straight road game in 3 weeks, which will show up in the second half. So I think they'll be able to wear down the Dolphins D, and Chip Kelly and their coaching staff will have a leg up on the Dolphins coaching staff, as the Dolphins defensive coordinator used to be on Chip Kelly's staff the last 2 seasons. So they'll know what to expect before it actually happens. So that will be a big advantage for the Eagles, and I look for them to get above 500 for the first time this season. For my next pick, I like the Vikings +3 over the Raiders. With the uncertainty of running back Latavius Murray, even if he does play, I don't think will be near 100%. And it won't help matters with the Raiders center and right tackle missing this game. This is making the defensive line of the Vikings in Barr, Griffin, and Joseph licking their chops to get after Carr and collapsing the pocket. And I think Peterson and the speed of the Vikings receiving core will be too much for the Vikings defensive or the Raiders defensive backs to handle. And even after a concussion last week with Bridgewater, he has practiced all week and taken all the reps. So I look for him to be fine in this one. And Zimmer and the boys will prove the doubters of their team wrong once again. Now, what you've been waiting for. Not one, but two, a Daily Double upset special this week.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Starting with the Bears plus 7.5 over the Rams. The Bears are likely to catch a break without the services of Rams defensive ends Chris Long, and highly unlikely to play, or even if he does, he'll be slowed, in Robert Quinn. This will give Cutler and the offense an extra second or two to look downfield to their big weapons out at receiver. And I like what Adam Gase is doing with the offense, with the short passes to keep in manageable third down distances and to keep ahead of the chains. And I think the Bears' running game will be able to do some things in the passing game. And after a slow start, the Bears' defense is starting to come around, and I expect them to have a loaded box to stop Gurley and to put some pressure on Foles, as his passing threat doesn't scare anybody. So look for the Bears to take some risks. And this will be more of a home game for the Bears as it for the Rams, as the monsters of the Midway will make themselves known, as they'll make the trip to St. Louis. For my next upset special, I like the Chiefs plus 6 against the Broncos. Kansas City is coming off their bye, and they've had this circled on their calendars since they gave away a game to the Broncos with some questionable play calls and freak plays. But they didn't have Poe and Smith in that game, which they will in this game. I think that Peyton Manning will have trouble with Casey's D-line, and Smith will be able to make things difficult for Thomas, and the same for Sanders, as he'll be covered by Peters. And without Aqib Talib, I expect Macklin to have a big receiving game, and that will open up things for Kelsey and X Factor Thomas underneath, and West will have, and that will open up things for West in the running game. And Alex Smith won't have to deal with DeMarcus Ware, and I think he'll have some time in the pocket with his scrambling ability to do some things on the offense. So I think Denver will lose their second in a row. So for a quick recap of my 6-pack, here they are. And I hope you have quenched your thirst this week. Stay tuned for week 11 next week.